What's going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and it's time for another Halloween month video. Today I'm going to be talking about a cartoon called Over the Garden Wall. It's a Cartoon Network mini-series that only spans 10 episodes, and some people have heard about it. It has a fan base, but I'm recommending it here because it's definitely a very interesting experience. So without further ado, let's get started. The basic story of Over the Garden Wall is two brothers, Wirt and Greg, get lost in a forest, and while there, they run into all kinds of weird people and creatures as they are trying to find their way out and trying to avoid someone or something called the Beast. It's a very simple setup, but it has a lot of really good potential for showing off some creative character designs and interesting little mini story arcs, because each episode is its own little, like, fairy tale, not really based on any specific fairy tales, but just kind of their own little created fairy tales and little vignettes. That's basically what the episode structure is. There is a narrative that carries through, and there is character development for each of the characters, but that is the basic structure. Is, you know, they run into something weird in this episode, run into something weird in that episode, run into something weird in this episode, and then, you know, you got the overall plot, you know, sprinkled in there. But it works really well, it's structured really well. And as far as the actual setting goes, the forest that they're in, oh my god, it's fucking beautiful. Holy shit, the backgrounds in this show are some of the most atmospheric and beautifully drawn I've ever seen. I mean, I'm showing them on screen right now, at least a couple. I mean, they look absolutely gorgeous. There's so much atmosphere, so much. You just get that sense. It's the perfect show to watch during Halloween or even just the time of, like, fall and autumn, because you just see these backgrounds and it just gives you that feeling. So yeah, the backgrounds and the atmosphere and the whole setting that it takes place in is absolutely wonderful. And yeah, so I guess I'll move on to the characters. So as far as characters go, you really have three main characters and a few important supporting characters. Really just two main supporting characters. As far as the main characters go, the easiest one to talk about first is Greg. Greg is Wirt's little brother, and he's basically in his own little world. He's carefree, he's happy when Wirt's worrying about everything and the gravity of their situation, about being lost. You know, Greg's just like, oh, you know, chin up, we can do this. But it's not annoying. He's just pleasant in his own little Greg way. He doesn't do anything super annoying. He doesn't run off and do stupid stuff. I mean, occasionally he does, but it's never, like, at the expense of the other characters. I mean, sort of, but if you watch it, you know what I mean. He doesn't really get on your nerves. At least he didn't get on my nerves. He's just happy-go-lucky kid. And that's basically him. He doesn't go through a ton of character development. So, moving on to Beatrice the bird. Beatrice the bird is a talking bird that ends up grouping up with the main characters. She has a backstory that I don't want to go into here because it goes into spoiler territory, but it's definitely interesting and I didn't see it coming. So she's cool. It's cool to see her want to, like, avoid becoming friends with them, and then when she really does start to like them, you see a shift in her character. It's really nice. And then you have Wirt. The last main character to talk about, and arguably the main protagonist, is Wirt. Fun fact about Wirt: he is voiced by none other than Frodo Baggins himself, Elijah Wood, who turns in actually a pretty good performance. All the voice work from all the characters is very good for this cartoon, but Elijah Wood, you know, big name actor, for 10 episodes, he could have phoned in a shitty performance, and he didn't, which I definitely appreciate. Respect for that. Wirt's the most problematic character in terms of he has problems. He's not a bad character, he's just a flawed character who's ripe for development, which I definitely like. He has some confidence issues, you know, negative outlook on things, he can be shy. He's a little bit of a stick in the mud at times, but he works as a character, he works really well. You know, when you do see him come out of his little comfort zone and act a little bit different, you kind of like it. You know, if you're getting into the characters and the story, of course. And yeah, he works really well as a protagonist. I would definitely call him the main character. And yeah, so that's him. Really not much else to say without going into like all his little developments and everything that goes down in the actual story, so I'll just move on. Okay, when moving on to the supporting characters, I said there was two supporting characters to talk about. It's really one supporting character and then the main villain. The first supporting character, the Woodsman, voiced by, and the timing's pretty perfect on this because Back to the Future Day just passed. The Woodsman, voiced by Christopher Lloyd. Doc Brown from Back to the Future, for those of you who don't know. Most everyone does, but, you know, there's people out there. Anyways, he turns in a great performance. It's, you know, over the top, but he's always intense when he appears. He's always serious. The tone shifts when he's around. He has this lantern that he always wants to keep lit. You don't really know why. You know, if you're invested in the story, you really do want to know why, and he has ties with the Beast, who's the main villain, and the next one I'm going to talk about. But yeah, the Woodsman is very cool. He gets his own little character arc. That's really well done. Now, as far as the Beast goes, I don't want to talk about too much, but I will just say he's a good, shadowy, behind-the-scenes manipulator. He's mentioned enough by the Woodsman and by a couple other characters, I think. It might just be the Woodsman. My memory could be wrong, but the Woodsman mentions him just enough to really make it feel like, dude, this guy's, like, behind them all the time. Like, this guy is on them. Like, almost like Sauron in their Lord of the Rings tie-in, almost like Sauron, how he's always watching. They really give you that sense with the Beast, like he could be anywhere in that forest with them, which is a very creepy thought. They don't hammer it in too hard, though, but yeah, he's a good, manipulative, behind-the-scenes villain. You see him a couple times, he's always in shadow. He looks creepy, but he's not, like, horrifying. Now, when light does shine on him for a split second, because you never see his full body clearly, but when light does shine on him for a split second, that's some horrifying shit. Like, that actually looks a little bit unsettling, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe that's just me, because I'm not used to seeing a bunch of horror, but I thought he looked pretty unsettling when you see him, a glimpse of him. But, yeah. That's the Beast. Good villain, he gets the job done for 10 episodes. I definitely liked him. So, those are all the characters, so, moving on. So, when talking about the overall story structure, I kind of already mentioned it. It's fairy tales, you know, it's little short stories. Each episode is kind of its own little contained adventure. They're on their adventure, they're going through the forest, they're trying to get home, and they'll meet a couple of people, maybe they have a problem, some kind of mysterious situation's going on. They either help out, or they're just the viewers, they just kind of see what's going on, and they kind of just let it play out. Usually they're involved, but that's basically the setup, and it's a nice setup for something that's very different from most other cartoons. And, yeah, but I'll get into what sets it apart from other cartoons in a second and what I don't like about it. But, yeah, so that's basically the story structure. Like I said, I already mentioned it, so, you know, not much to say. Moving on to what sets it apart. As far as what sets this apart from other cartoons and the things it does really, really well, I mean, I already mentioned the unbelievable atmosphere and beautiful backgrounds, but I think it also is a very good... It's not something I would really show your kids to have them entertained for like 2 hours, because it really is structured in a way where, you know, it's not really bright and colorful, it's not heavy on jokes, you know, it's very much telling its story, doing its own thing. You like it or you don't like it, it's very quiet for the most part, and it's just cool, you know, it's just this laid-back show that's heavy on atmosphere and all that stuff, and I don't think kids would be as entertained by it. You know, if you're looking for something more like Adventure Time or Gravity Falls that's more colorful and has a bit more adventurous, you know, fun aspects to it, this show can be fun, of course, but it's definitely not primarily trying to be epic and adventurous or anything like that. It's definitely more chilled out and relaxed, and that makes it very unique. It also has a lot of hidden meaning. It definitely has a lot of hidden meaning. A lot of people have come to their own different conclusions about what Over the Garden Wall is, like the location, the forest that they're in, what's going on, the people they meet, what the supernatural stuff really means. A lot of hidden meaning, a lot of really cool hidden themes that you can draw your own conclusion to. So I would say if you're like going to go into this like casually, like Pet Platypus recommended this, I'm just going to watch this casually, you might still enjoy it, but it really is for someone who wants to see like what the hidden meaning is and like figure everything out and really, you know, pay attention to the opening video that shows all these people and then, you know, watch the show and see these people and everything. It's definitely, I think if you just watched it like, yeah, I'm just going to watch a cartoon that's going to be entertaining, kind of turn your brain off. Not that it's like too smart or anything, but it's just, you turn your brain off, watch it for some laughs, or watch it for entertainment, you might still get it, but I don't think as much unless you're really ready to like invest yourself in it. But I could be wrong, because I watched it trying to like invest myself in the story and everything, so yeah, I don't know from the other side if you just wanted to watch it for entertainment value. But I do think it's entertaining. As far as things I don't like about it, it's only 10 episodes long. There's really not much to say, especially not, without going into spoiler territory. But there were just a couple of episodes that were a little bit weaker to me, like one where they go to a school with a bunch of animals. There were some really cool animation moments, like when the teacher was doing a little mini song number. There was like, how do I say it? I know how to say it, I'm just kind of fucking up my words, I can't talk for a second. She goes in front of the window, and the sun is coming in, and they actually animate the dust particles. That was really cool. You don't see that very often. It really helped build the atmosphere. That should be in the things I do like, things that make it really cool section, but the overall episode with the animals, I didn't find that interesting. But yeah, there's really not a lot to say. I could say like, oh, the story's kind of confusing, what was the ending, but that kind of gets into spoiler territory. And again, I think you're supposed to draw your own conclusion and kind of figure it out on your own, and the hints are there for you. So, yeah. Really not much to say as far as complaints go. Like I said, it is only 10 episodes, so there really isn't a lot to talk about in terms of what you don't like. Unless the whole thing sucks, but that's not the case. So, yeah, as far as the technicals go, once again, cannot stress enough the beauty of the backgrounds. They look gorgeous, great atmosphere. The animation on the actual people and everything looks great, so the animation is totally fine. It's a simplistic art style like a lot of cartoons these days, but it works. You get used to it really fast. And if you're wondering why they're wearing weird outfits, they do explain it later on in the series. So the pacing is pretty good. It's not super fast, it's not super slow. It kind of just rides along. You probably get that sense as I was explaining how the story is structured. That's very much the pacing you would expect. The audio, like I said, is great. All the voice actors do a good job. All the guest actors, like the big celebrities like Christopher Lloyd and Elijah Wood, turn in really good performances as well. So, yeah, from an audio standpoint, it's really good. From a visual standpoint, it's great. And, yeah, the pacing's really, really good. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Over the Garden Wall. Check it out, don't check it out. I think it's a really good series. It's worth watching. You can blow through it in, like, the amount of time it takes to watch a movie, because it's only 10 episodes, and each episode is only 11 minutes. So, yeah, definitely recommend it. So, thanks for watching this video. Tell me what you guys think of Over the Garden Wall in the comment section below. Do you feel like checking it out after seeing this video? Have you already seen it? Tell me what you guys think of it. Give this video a thumbs up. That would help me out a lot. Follow me on Instagram. I post things there sometimes. You can also add me on PlayStation. petplatypus on PlayStation. And yeah, subscribe if you like what you see here. If you, I forgot my own outro for a second. My bad. Subscribe. I'm fucking done. I can't even think straight right now. Subscribe if you like what you've seen here, or if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.